Previously, we've done a whole bunch of shows about solo diving. And one of my favorite ways to solo dive, instead of having a stage bottle in front of me, is to have my pony bottle attached to my tank behind. You ever wonder how we go about doing that? Well, today we're going to show you how. Welcome to Everything Scuba. Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome to Everything Scuba. I am Lyell. If you're a first-time viewer to our channel, welcome. We're glad you found us. We are here talking about, well, everything related to the world of scuba diving. So if you love to scuba dive into Everything Scuba by hitting that subscribe button. We'd love to have you join us on our weekly shows. On this week's episode, we have done a whole series of videos previously all about solo diving, the gear required, the theory involved, and the actual practice of solo diving. If you haven't seen that series, click the link up above. It'll take you to that playlist. But during that series, when we talked about taking redundant gas with us, we showed you a couple of different ways. There's multiple ways that you can carry redundant gas. Jeff from Triton's Realm, on one episode, he carried a side-slung bottle. It's in front of you. And I had a rear-mounted pony bottle. I like the rear-mounted system because typically I have a camera in my hands. If I want to get down close to the bottom or close to a critter, I don't want to have something that's hanging down below me. And so attaching this pony bottle behind me to my cylinder gives me much more flexibility as far as my position in the water goes. And also while you're diving, you barely even know it's there. You just adjust your weighting so you don't roll in the water. You're nicely balanced. So I'm going to show you today how we went about attaching a pony bottle to your main cylinder tank. And I'm going to introduce you to a product made by XS Scuba. This is the XS Scuba Pony Mount for a 19 cubic foot cylinder, which is this size. And that's a 4.4 millimeter diameter cylinder. And it fits into this retainer, which then slips into the band. And we'll show you how it slips into the band and how it attaches in a bit. Word of caution, when you go to purchase this, it's available from good scuba retailers locally or online. When you go online, XS Scuba also makes another product for a 6 cubic foot cylinder. And this is a 3.3 millimeter diameter. So when I hold these two up here, you can see that the internal curvature of this versus that is much different. So this is not going to fit on that cylinder and keep it secure. So just be aware, if you're looking for a 19 cubic foot cylinder, which is probably the smallest cylinder you want to use as a solo diver, you need this one, which is for the 4.4 millimeter diameter cylinder. So word of caution there. So the nice thing about this pony mount is it comes with this really nice strap, pretty rigid. It has its own buckle system and some Velcro, so you can adjust the tension on that to make sure it fits that pony bottle and holds it snugly. I found when I got it, it actually fits perfectly for me. On the mount itself, it has these little rubber grommets on both sides. That way when it sits against the tank, it's got a little bit of grip and also some cushion. You're not going to hear things clanging around behind you. When we mount this, particularly when we're going to mount the cylinder in a position where this valve is at the top, there is a slot right here, and we want to make sure the slot is pointing downwards. There is an alternate way that you can mount this, and I'll show you at the end of this video that I'm not a huge fan of, but when we mount this, we want to have this with this slot right here because that's what's going to slip over the band that's on our main tank. Remember, we want to have this on our left-hand side of our tank. So if my arm is my main cylinder, this is the side that's going to mount against that cylinder. I want to make sure, just like I do when I mount my main tank, that my valve is pointing at the back of my head, or as we tell our students, the air should be pointing at the hair. So this is the position I'm going to mount it. I'm going to open this guy up. We're going to slip it over the top of our pony cylinder and slide it down. Now, the height of where I'm going to end this is really dependent upon my BCD and where my strap is located. I wanted to try and have this valve at the same height as my main valve. That way things aren't banging into the back of my shoulder, back of my head. And so when we mount this, we'll show you that. And just like any regular BCD strap, we're just gonna put some tension on it, snap it closed, and Velcro that up. And again, we wanna make sure that this slot is pointing downwards when we do that. Let's show you how we mount it to the main cylinder. So guys, now we've got our pony cylinder prepped. We've got the XS Scuba Highland Pony Mount attached to it, and the slot is pointing downwards. We've got our BCD here, which is a WTX 30. It's an Apex BCD. As you can see, it has a double band. I'm a big fan of the quick disconnect that Apex and Aqualung make. It just, for me, makes it easier getting things on and off, and also attaching this is a little bit easier. So I normally mount my BCD to the cylinder. I'm going to go ahead and tighten my lower band because I'm attaching this to the upper band, and with this we need to have just a little bit more space, so sometimes I'll have to loosen this band just a little bit to allow the cylinder to slip in place, but I've got it loosely attached here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cylinder and we're going to slip it down into the band. Again, with the rubber grommets on there, it gets quite a bit of grip. I'm going to slide that around, and I want to make sure that that is all the way to the hilt of the mount there. And as you can see, we're pretty close to having the right height. And at this point, I'm just simply going to tighten up my BCD. It's pretty snug. And make sure that is in place. You can make some fine-tune adjustments to this if you want to rotate your cylinder just a little, just to get it in just the right position. But again, we want to make sure this is all the way to the hub, and this is really secure. You don't want to have any slop in the system, so when you're diving, you can feel motion back there. But this is now really nice and snug and tight. And again, valves are pointing to the back of the head. So this gives us a really nice way to mount that accessory cylinder, a redundant air source, so it's out of our way, and we can go diving. I'm going to show you one other way that you can mount this. One alternate way to mount the pony cylinder here would be in an upside down position. Why would we want to do that? Well, a couple reasons. One, some divers want to have access to being able to turn on and off your redundant air source right there. Also, this is still on the left side of the cylinder, but if I was going to mount this upside down, I'd probably want to put it on the right side of my cylinder, because then I've got a right-handed regulator that's coming from the correct position. One of the things I've noticed with solo diving is with that right-handed regulator, we're used to that fitting in our mouth in just the right position. But if it's coming from your left, that can be kind of awkward because of the position that regulator is in. There are some regulators where you can switch them to a right or left-handed regulator, and that's what I've done, so that I still have my redundant regulator on a necklace around my neck, and it's basically just like popping it into my mouth. It's just coming from my left instead of my right. So the big real issue I have with mounting this upside down, though, is, as you can see, nice smooth cylinder. If this were not tightly attached, there's nothing to stop that cylinder from slipping out. Obviously, if it's mounted the other way around, probably it's going to catch on the valve and not going to disappear. Pre-dive safety checks are obviously important, making sure this is super snug and tight. But this is one alternate way that I generally don't really recommend using. I'd love to know if there's other solo divers out there, if there's other ways that you guys are attaching your pony tank to your main cylinder as a back-mounted system. We found that this XS Scuba product really works well for us and the divers that we train. But if you have other ways that this can be done, we'd love to hear about it. Always like to learn about new techniques. Leave some comments for us down below. Otherwise, stick around for some more great content from Everything Scuba.